Hello dear student, welcome you once again in orientation of practical number 2, develop one short story. This practical is based on B.Ed first year syllabus. The course number is 10603, Understanding Disciplines and School Subject English. In this course, as a student teacher, we need to develop one short story. Before writing this type of practical work, you need to understand what should be written in this practical work. Let's have a focus on the index. This index is divided into two parts, that is part 1 or part 2, that is part A, part B. In part A, evaluation scheme, there is declaration, then certificate, fourth one is acknowledgement, and right now you are seeing that is index. Part B deals with introduction, objective of writing of short story. While writing this practical, you need to mention the name of the story, and while writing particular story, you need to follow the particular criteria of short story. And after that, what are the characters in this short story? And your theme or your theme of your short story or type of the story. Means there are different types of stories. Stories are based on horror, love, fable, science, adventure, fairy, ghost, detective and biographical one. After that, at actual level, you have to write within 3 or 4 pages a short story. After writing your short story, you need to write the moral of the story, because every story there is moral. And after this one, you have to record your personal opinion, or we may say that we have to write educational implication. What did I learn by writing a short story? This is a kind of practical where personal opinions are important one. Before starting this one, we have to add the declaration form, where as a student teacher, you have to mention your name, you have to write your roll number, and you have to mention the work, practical work, or the title of the practical work, under whose guidance you are writing this practical one, why are you submitting this practical, for which degree, in which year, and it should be your independent work and authentic one in nature. You have to declare as a student teacher. After this one, certificate is given by your respective professor who really has guided to you for writing short story, so that it your duty to have the sign over your practical. Then acknowledgement, you have to express your gratitude towards all your professors, guides, all your supporting members, as well as your principal and all your friends and colleagues, because they really have guided to you, they have supported to you for completion of this type of practical work. And here is so important part, that is part B, and here actual writing starts. Before writing any practical, you need to introduce the aim and objective of writing this one. Everyone knows about the curriculum. It's a kind of master plan for educational activities which are to be undertaken in relation to the aim and objectives stated at various levels and respective subject. So that according to the new B.Ed curriculum of Savitribai Phule Pune University, the course 10603 is Understanding Disciplines and School Subject, in which practical work entitled Develop One Short Story has been introduced. And there are various projects and course-related activities which are for shaping the all-round personality of the student teacher. But you belong to English department, or you are the student of English language, so that you should have the mastery over all 4 fundamental language skills, that is listening, speaking, reading and writing. Then what is expected from you or as a student teacher, apart from textual or academic knowledge, one needs to apply his or her knowledge of language at practical level. So As getting mastery your writing skill, the practical work entitled Development Short Story will intentionally enrich the writing skill of student teacher, where they will have to come across with the different genres. Means, as a student teacher, just you have to imagine yourself, you have to have the story in your mind with the characters. You need to add the creative writing style. Your thinking process will be definitely active when you are going to write particular short story, so that writing short story where you need to understand what is in by setting, what are the characterization, then what dialogue should be added in particular short story, so that this practical would be helpful for a student teacher to write many short stories on the basis of their imaginative power and creative way of thinking. Because as per the Bloom's taxonomy, your creative thinking or creativity should be enriched or developed. Let's focus on the objectives of writing of short story. Why Pune University has introduced this type of practical work in course number 106. The objectives are to make good use of English language at application and functional level, to enrich 4 fundamental skills of English language, to help student teacher to understand the concept of narration, setting, character, theme and symbol, as well as to consider ways to create mood and write good story using openings, closings and dialogues. Fourth objective deals with to develop the ability of construction of short story, to make them sensible towards cultural diversity, traditions and rich heritage of India. And last one, to enhance student teacher interest in reading and appreciating short stories from wide variety of sources. Means, for writing any short story, you must be a good reader of English language. You must be a keen observer, and you should honor the cultural diversity of India or any country. Then you must have the knowledge of tradition and rich heritage of India, so that while drafting particular short story, you should know what is by narration, setting, character, theme, symbol, etc. Because writing means perfection. After writing on these type of different topics, you will be able to get the perfection by expressing yourself with the help of words. Then after writing this one, just you have to mention the name of your story. After that, so important thing, while drafting particular short story, there are some criteria. First one is that is opening. The first few sentences which usually arouse curiosity, pull the reader in and carry compressed information in short stories, because your opening should be so attractive one, and there must be arousing curiosity. After this opening, then there should be exposition. What is meant by exposition? Let's see. At the start of the story, the setting, situation and main characters up to now are introduced. Means, though not used as much in short stories as in novels. Little bit exposure should be given. After that, next criteria is characterization, the process of creating and developing characters. It totally depends upon your imaginative power, your observation, your higher thinking process and your experiences, so that you need to create different characters. And fourth one is most important factor, that is plot. What is my plot? Planned, logical series of events having a beginning, middle and end. The short story usually has one plot, so it can be read in one sitting. Means, little bit story can make a big difference, and after this plot there is dialogue. you need to add some dialogues between two characters, three characters. Likewise, in this dialogue, speech is used for moving the story forward, so that dialogues are needed. Though some dialogues can be redundant, no problem. Then after that, narrative describes a sequence of the events. There should be logical sequence, proper sequence should be maintained, and when we are going to read out any short story, then reader himself is a narrator. So that you have to give such kind of experience to the readers, because you are going to write a story. Then you need to use some symbols. Symbols in short an enhancement tool to trace the theme of the story. For example, a dog can symbolize loyalty. Likewise, then next there is complication, an event that introduces conflict. Means there should be scope for introduction of conflicts in the story. Then rising action, the action that leads to a crisis. Then conflict. What is meant by conflict? This is essential to a storyline. Without conflict, there is no plot. It is the opposition of forces which ties one incident to another and makes the plot move. Within a short story, there may be only one central struggle, or there may be one dominant struggle with many minor ones. After this conflict, there is a part of climax. What happens in climax? The point of highest interest in terms of the conflict and the point of the story with most action. After a climax, then there is following action, when events and complications begin to resolve themselves. And already we know about these things. After climax, there is following action, and last one, that is the resolution, the point of the story when the conflict is resolved, so that the story is created, is written and shown. After that, there is twist, an unexpected final paragraph which settles reader's perception. And after this twist, there is closing, the last paragraph of the story. And after this one, there is always moral, the message conveyed or a lesson to be learned from a story. For example, fairy stories often have a moral about distrusting people who appear to be trustworthy. Means these are the some criteria of writing short story, so that as a student teacher you have to follow all the criteria while drafting your short story, and definitely you will be able to write such type of fine story. Then you have to mention the characters of the story, then your theme of the story, and after that the type of the story. As per the index, just we are following index. This type of story, if your story belongs to particular person, belong to particular place, event, or it can be narrated, or it can be described as horror story, love story, fable story, the story based on biography, story related to adventure or fairy life. And after that, eighth one, it is so important. In this point number 8, the short story, you have to write 2 or 3 pages or 3 or 4 pages short story by keeping all the criteria before your sight. And after that, the moral of the story, just I have mentioned here. Then after writing this story, particular short story, then there is last point, your personal opinion, or we may say that educational implication. Why should student teacher or any teacher write short story? What are the benefits of writing such story? Then these are the some benefits or educational implications are: it builds the confidence, it develops the artistic self-expressions, this helps them practice self-discipline, it improves their grammar skill, it helps them come up with new ideas or thoughts, it can help them think critically, it helps for better understanding of the mechanics of reading and writing, It enriches the empathy and communication skills. It also helps in maintaining mental, emotional, and physical health. Writing of short stories helps student teachers to develop creativity in different aspects of life. It can help them develop their language skills. Student teachers will have a lot of written memories, and last one, it broadens their understanding towards things fictional and non-fictional. So that, dear student, these are some benefits, these are some educational implications of writing a short story. Thank you, dear student. Thank you very much.